and he or she says, you know what, I agree with Sherry Jackson, I agree with Ed and Elaine Brown, I agree with Tom Cryer, I agree with Irwin Schiff, who's in jail, I agree with these people, I'm not going to pay the tax. How do you get your company to stop withholding from you?
Well, that's the thing. Some small companies, if you show them the law in the code sections, which are 1441, 1446 in that area, and you open up to the regulations, it says right at the top, withholding for non-resident aliens and foreign corporations. If the company listens to that, which some of them have, then they stop taking the resources of that person. But usually when you work for a large corporation, then they're not. This is what I get from the people that have talked to the large corporations. I don't care what the law says. I care what the IRS can do to me, or I care what the IRS can do to this company, which is fear. So that person is going to have to decide to stay at their job and let them take the money or go start their own business, which is something that we all need to do so our country can, get to the point where it's great again, because all of our jobs have been shipped offshore.
Sherry, will you stay with us for phone calls?
I will.
Okay. Sherry Jackson, former IRS examiner. She investigated fraud, embezzlement, and now they're coming after her because she doesn't think we have to pay them. We'll be back in a moment. I'm George Noory. This is Coast to Coast AM. Well, right after tonight's broadcast with a little sleep, to the airport I go and off to Norfolk, Virginia, where I'll be broadcasting the program live tomorrow out of our affiliate, WNIS. And then on Saturday, it's our Talk Fest. A lot of talk show hosts from all around the country will participate in that. So if you live in that area or you want to make a little drive, come on by. I am told the event is free and open to you, so I'd love to see you there. We're going to do a little Q&A and just have some fun. So I'll be doing that, and then I'll pop back on a plane and come back to St. Louis for a little bit before I go on to Los Angeles. Also tomorrow night in the first hour, our scheduled guest is none other than Ed McMahon. I'm looking forward to talking with Ed about some of the things in his life and what it was like to be Johnny Carson's sidekick before we go into open lines. We'll be back in a moment. We'll take your phone calls with our special guest, Sherry Jackson, on Coast to Coast AM. And welcome back to Coast. I'm George Noory with our special guest this hour, Sherry Jackson. We're going to take your phone calls, and they are lining up for you, Sherry. Do you have good legal representation, or are you going to battle this yourself?
No, actually, I have Larry B. Kraft, the same person that represented Tommy Cryer in July.
Well, he was successful with Tommy, wasn't he?
Right, yes.
Okay, let's go to some of the phones. Let's go, first of all, east of the Rockies. You're on Coast to Coast with us. Hi there.
Hey, George, how you doing?
I'm doing fine, thank you. Go ahead.
I'm a long-time listener, second-time caller. I've been paying close attention, when you're talking about the Browns and everything that's going on. And it kind of hit me last year, the IRS coming to me saying that I owe taxes from 2003. But I've been using the same tax person and everything in all my, 15 years of driving a truck. And then all of a sudden, right at the end of 3 years, or from 2003, they come after me in December of 2006 saying that I owe these taxes, but they all, they never notified me saying that I have, on 2004, 2005, but yet they're hitting me with these late charges and fees and all this stuff. To me, like they did Miss Jackson here, which I commend her for her research there and what she's doing, not standing down because they're basically pointing a gun at her. But to me, they're like it's like kind of like the mob, pointing a gun at you, saying you got to do this, or we're going to wreck your life, And I think when all this comes down, I think the American people are going to be very, very angry with this stuff and how they're going around and charging people and putting people in jail and taking possessions from people, businesses and stuff like they've done to the Browns. And this is just totally mind-boggling. Here we are paying taxes, and here there is no law, but yet they're keeping, everything quiet there.
Well, I think that, evidently the American people haven't gotten angry enough. I think that, the fear campaign, especially that starts out in January and goes all the way through April, and they parade people around that left thousands of dollars off the tax return and are indicted and going to jail and all that, and that's what they do. And, people in America used to have a backbone. We used to be fearless, and I don't know what happened, but we've gotten in a comfort zone where we just, accept what's happening to us. And it's just like that scenario about the frog. You put a frog in some hot water, boiling water, and he jumps out. But if you put him in the cold water and turn up the temperature gradually, then he'll boil. And that's what we're doing. We're boiling, and we're not paying attention to what's going on. So you're right. As long as the American people continue to let this go on and continue to watch television instead of doing the research, it's going to continue to happen.
There will be a time, Sherry, where I think Americans will be fed up with everything that seems to be coming down on them. And I've got to tell you, I can sense it. I can feel it. I talk to people every night. It's getting to be very, very tense out there. Do you see that?
I do. I see people that they say, I knew something was wrong, but I couldn't pinpoint it. And especially now with the Freedom to Fascism movie out, everybody needs to go to freedomtofascism.com and watch that movie. It gives people, a elementary understanding of what we have going on in the country. We're being raped, we're being plundered, and we got to do something about it.
If, for some reason, you were working with the IRS today, knowing what you know, how would you handle these investigations that would come on your desk?
I could not work for the IRS knowing what I know. So that's a non sequitur question. I couldn't do it. I would have had to resign just like Joe Bannister and just like John Turner did. Once you learn something like this, I couldn't sleep at night. Just like I couldn't sleep at night going ahead and filing tax returns knowing that somehow I was depriving my children, because if I don't do something about it, right now, if I let them continue to rape me every April 15th, 10 years from now, they're going to be raping my daughter, and I'm not having that.
I'm going to get you on a roundtable discussion, Sherry. Maybe you, Joe Bannister, and a few other people somewhere down the line. You'd be willing to do that with us?
Definitely. We need to educate America.
Let's go to our wild card line. You're on the air with us on Coast to Coast. Hi there. Hello. Well, that person's out with us. We'll go to the next wild card line. You are on Coast to Coast. Welcome to the program. Hi there.
Hi, I have some questions for your guest.
Yes, go
now,
ahead.
I totally agree with you as far as the statute. There is no law saying you have to pay federal income tax, but it's one of those things that we all have to do, or you suffer the repercussions of it. Now, if you want to follow the letter of the law, I live in Chattanooga, Tennessee. I currently have my house up for sale, and on the deed of my house, it says I cannot sell my house to a Negro. And, if you're going to go to that extreme, then, if I wanted to, for example, I could say, well, if you're black, I'm not going to sell you my house. But it says that, but yet I can't get away with that if I wanted to do that. You see what I'm saying? Just like it says that you don't have to pay federal tax. But if you don't pay it, you go to jail.
I understand that, and that's that person that says, I don't care what the law says, I care what the IRS can do to me. There are people like that, and that's just how they are. I just disagree with that, because if we had done this with the founding fathers had that attitude, you would still be under King George, and I would still be a slave.
Next up, east of the Rockies, you're on Coast to Coast with us. Hi there.
Hi, my name is George, and my question is there anything that people can do, maybe file a class action lawsuit against the IRS, maybe to stop having taken the federal taxes out of us, and listen off the air for your answer?
Hi there.
Right.
We've done all that. We've marched on Washington. We've given them a redress of grievances to have the government answer our questions. We have been totally ignored by our 535 senators and congressmen. It's going to take the people rising up. Unfortunately, we may have some kind of a revolution, but the people, there's not enough people that know this information. So the best thing to do is educate people, and people will make their own choices as to how they handle the situation. One of the best ways to educate people is to have them look at the movie by famous movie producer Aaron Russo. If they go to freedomtofascism.com, they will be able to see the movie online and or order the movie. Once they've seen it, they can't unlearn the information in that movie. They've got to make some choices as to how they're going to handle themselves, because I think our country is sliding. There's a lot of economic repercussions from the pillaging of our resources, and we're going to pay the piper if we don't do something.
Sherry, what do you tell someone who says,